Josh here. Yes, 2 days in a row, 2 videos in each of those days. Things are happening. So, the whole sellout of the Gothic preview cards, Ars Curiosa has made an announcement and explained what happened with the sellout. I thought this announcement was pretty interesting, and there's some parts I want to kind of talk about. So, for those of you that haven't seen it, the announcement was made in the official Discord. They basically, I'll just read some of it. We want to thank you for the incredible enthusiasm around the launch of the new early access Gothic Dust Reward promos. So, that type of thing. While the response was amazing, a few issues affected the rollout. So, demand far exceeded expectations, and the cards sold out much faster than anticipated, especially the non-foil versions. This is the line I really want to talk about. So the demand exceeded expectations. That's good. That's actually a really good thing. That means that Sorcery is growing. There are people who wanted these cards, people who spent their dust to obtain these cards. It shows that there is a desire for Gothic. People want new cards. We've been playing for a long time with Beta and Arthurian Legends. People are ready for Gothic. Everyone was excited for Swap. This just proves even more. Those 3 new cards, people were so excited, they sold out far more quickly than was expected. That's all positive, because that means that there are people who want to play Sorcery. Hopefully that means there's a lot of new people who wanted to play Sorcery. And given that these were limited to 1 per person, unless someone did something fancy and, was able to create a bunch of bot accounts, which I don't think they'd be able to do, but maybe someone could figure it out. But the way you have to load dust and all that, it just doesn't feel like something that someone would do. So all these cards sold out, hopefully, to mostly individuals. A lot of individuals wanted these and they went out. So that's great. That's fantastic. The thing that bothers me is because they sold out this quick, and because they were limited 1 per person, that means the starting amount could not have been very high. And honestly, the number of people who have expressed that they missed out, whether it was they missed out completely or they missed out on 1 or 2 things, it really makes me think these quantities were very, very low. And, it's hard to throw out a number, right? It's hard to know that. And we're never going to know that. We're never going to know that there were 500 copies available of each of these cards, and they all were taken. I think 500, I think a lot of people, if it was 500, I think a lot of people think that'd be too extremely low. I've seen some people say, well, there were probably 2,000. 2,000 feels high to me personally. I just don't think that there would be enough people active in the Sorcery community that would see this within the first 27 hours before the sellout. Like that just doesn't feel like something that could be achievable with a 1 per person limit. Now, maybe it is. But whatever it is, the fact that these sold out has to mean that the amount was very limited. This was not an inventory error like some folks, including myself, were wondering. Maybe it was an inventory error, a typo. It doesn't sound like, based on that sentence, that was the case at all. There was a very low quantity available, and a whole lot of people wanted to get their hands on these new cards. So, all that part being said, being addressed, On with the announcement. We'll be conducting a limited restock to better reflect the original intent of this initiative, and we're taking steps to ensure that future dust rewards better match the community's excitement and interest. Now, I mentioned this in my video about the sellout, that Erish Curiosa may have underestimated how excited people would be to get new Gothic cards. This feels kind of like an admission to that yeah, we knew people would be excited, but we didn't think they'd be this excited. Guys, it's been a year. We are excited. In fact, it's been more than a year at this point. Arthurian Legends released in October, and we're ready. We are ready for more cards. So yeah, I hope they keep it in mind. People are excited. We want these cards. We love this game, and new cards to play with are very exciting. So I like that they kind of mentioned that they were taken aback by it. And again, that's a good thing. That's very positive, because that shows that people want to play Sorcery, and that's what we want. We want more people in Sorcery. So I think that all that part was very positive. It was just kind of a nice little, yeah, we didn't think that things would go this way. So I really like that. So then getting to kind of the last sentence of that main part of the announcement, we anticipate that this will be resolved around the end of the month or early November. This gives me a little bit more pause. So does that mean that getting this restock up isn't going to happen until, late October, early November? Is that what they mean? So then, assuming they get posted, let's say they get posted the weekend of Halloween, right? Let's just say they get posted at that point. Okay, people go in, people make their orders, they get shipped. Will they make it in time for Las Vegas? It's a big question. How many orders does Cardio have to deal with? Can they get them all done in time? It's a big question. I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows their staffing, their logistics, and that type of thing. So it's kind of a we'll have to wait and see situation. But I do feel like Erish Curiosa's goal, because I think their original intent of this initiative, while it was to kind of give us to give all of the community a preview, to give us a little taste to get excited about. Also, it was they wanted people to play with these cards in Vegas. They wanted to have something there at Vegas to shake things up a little bit. I feel like that was also part of the original intent. So I gotta think that the goal with the restock is to make sure that they can get cards to people before SCG Con Las Vegas happens. But it sounds like it's going to be a very tight turnaround. I do hope they're going to be able to pull it off. So, and it's really just a question of logistically, what does this mean? So did they put everything they had up? Did they put up a smaller amount of what they had and they're going to restock it? As I mentioned, maybe when Gothic actually releases, maybe when they put more Dust Store rewards related to Gothic up in, let's say, early next year. If that's to happen, maybe there were more of these kind of held back for that. They don't mention that. They don't say that. But certainly the idea that they can do a restock this quickly, can they print them off that fast? I don't know. That seems like a really tight turnaround. Granted, I'm assuming these are printed in a different way than the standard sets. They're done in batches on, the same copy of the card on the sheets or whatever, however they do it. So that's what I've got to think is maybe, it would be easier to reprint something like this if they have to do it. So let's hope they're able to pull that off. I'm very hopeful that they'll be able to do that. That everyone that goes to Las Vegas, if they want one of these 3 cards in their deck, they're going to be able to get a non-foil copy and take care of it. Now, one other kind of a silver lining that came out of this whole thing, turns out there was an error in the parcel weights. And so higher shipping costs were added on to people unexpectedly. They did say some orders, so who knows what percentage that involves. But some of us, maybe me, maybe not, maybe you, maybe not, are hopefully going to be getting a refund. You do not have to do anything for that to happen. That will happen automatically. So if you get a refund, that's why. So in addition to, kind of addressing the whole, oh, it sold out this fast, we get this little silver lining too of, oh, look, not only was there a sellout, which is great and bad, it's both, it's good and bad. But we found, there was this error with the shipping rates that has to be corrected. So that's great. Now the rest of the message is, thank you, that type of stuff, all that good stuff. And it does say, the dust program is one of the elements of Sorcery that most purely reflects our shared love of the game and the community. When the dust program was announced, I made I don't know if it was long. I made a video about it. I was very excited about the dust program, what it meant for Sorcery, what it means for Sorcery now. It really does incentivize loyalty to the game. Just being a part of this community, you can accumulate dust through your purchases, through playing and being involved in the community and coming out and enjoying events. And you are going to be rewarded by the company for that because they appreciate you so much for being part of this community. I just think the dust program in and of itself, and I'll say this forever, all the shipping stuff, we're going to put that aside. The concept of this program is one of the best ideas I've seen a company that's related to TCGs do in a long time. A lot of companies used to do this way back in the 90s. They'd put little things on booster packs you'd snip off or whatever, and then you could send them in to get special prizes. The card game that I think of the most, I don't think a lot of people are going to remember this. The Song of Ice and Fire TCG, before it was converted to an LCG, all the booster packs had these little gold coins on it, and you could cut the gold coin out and you could send that off and get these really cool, they actually, for those of you that know Game of Thrones, there are houses. So the house with their emblem or whatever, you could get you had to show what house you were in the game. And there were these giant not giant, there were these big, standard card size stone cards. They were literally made of stone. They were about a 1/4 inch thick, very heavy. And those were the types of things you could send in for. And that was super cool. So the dust program, in my opinion, is the same sort of thing like that. It rewards you for purchasing Sorcery product. It rewards you especially for participating in the community, coming out to events, playing events, being involved. That's really, I think, the biggest purpose of the dust program. And it's a good way for those who don't want to spend, I shouldn't say that. It's a good way for individuals to get some really cool cards just by playing. Just go out and play and you can get access to some of these really cool promotional alternate art cards. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, you could potentially trade, if you play a lot, you can get these and then you could trade them off for whatever you need, right? These cards are all sought after. People want these cards because they are very cool, very neat. So it's a good thing that you can also trade, especially the ones that have the limit of 3, right? If you can get a couple of copies and you're just not attached, hey, trade them off. Get the cards you want for the decks you want to play. So that's why the dust program, of all the things Eric's Curios had done, I mean, obviously they created Sorcery and we all love Sorcery, but the things associated with Sorcery, I just can't say enough positive things about the dust program itself in terms of what it does for the community. So that's it. Turns out it wasn't an inventory error. There really were not a whole lot of these cards. So, and they just underestimated demand. Hey, lesson learned. I'm sure Irish Curiosa is going to learn from this. They're going to be like, you know what? We really should have thought about the fact that 14 months is a long time for people to wait for new cards. And they are hungry for those new cards. So definitely think that they will hopefully, learn from that in the future. And really I honestly wonder if if this is used in the future where they kind of preview cards before a set release, I've got to think that these cards would not have seen the demand they saw if Gothic had been out. If Gothic had been out and everyone had their haystacks and had their fields of Fixus and had their rivers of blood, I don't think the demand would have been this high. I think it was only because this is it. This was the only way to get these cool new cards. And we're starving for new cards, which thank goodness we're getting December the 5th. So overall, a lesson learned, I think, and a good one, and a positive thing. That many people are involved in the sorcery community and we're able to sell this out. Now, maybe the quantity was a little low, but still, limit one per person. I think that's a good sign. I think that's a very positive sign in how many people really wanted this. And hopefully in the future, we don't run into this problem again. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So, be ready. Be watching. I'm sure they'll announce it as soon as they do the restock. Sounds like it's going to be the end of the month or early November. I would be awake that weekend of December the 31st or October the 31st. October the 31st, that feels kind of like the time they're targeting to get this restock done. Now, unless that by resolve they mean, I think that it's got to be the restock, right? That's what it has to be. I would think that's what it means, unless that's also referring to the shipping refunds, but I don't think that's true either because that was a part of a second section of the announcement. So yeah, so just keep your eyes peeled. They're going to get restocked. I'm sure there'll be an announcement. Be ready, because it does say limited restock, right? Yes, limited restock, a limited restock. So doesn't sound like, oh, there's going to be 5,000 copies. No. Still going to be limited. So make sure you hop on, order your cards. Do not hem-haw around. If you hem-haw around, you'll end up maybe not getting them. So don't do that. That's it. Second video of the day. Yeah, man, 2 days in a row, 2 videos on each day. It's fun when sorcery is exciting. Although, if I was not on vacation, I could not be doing all this. So, there is that. As always, keep on contesting the realm!